So on this question, we're going to work with the equation x cubed times sine of y plus y equals 4x plus 3. And we want to find dy dx. And we're going to use implicit differentiation for this one. So keep in mind when you're working with implicit differentiation, typically these are used for equations where you're not able to write it as, let's say, y equals everything else, right? You have a couple y variables in this. It's not like it's an equation that you could easily solve for y. So these are typically the equations where you'll want to go use implicit differentiation. Right, so let's start with that first term there, right? X cubed and sine of y. Right, notice that that's a product. So we're going to have to use product rule for that component. So we'll take the derivative of x cubed, and that's going to give us 3x squared. Right, so that's the derivative of that first component. We're going to keep the second component, which is sine of y. Plus, and then we're going to keep the x cubed. And then we need to take the derivative of sine of y. What would be your derivative for sine of y? This would be times cosine of y. And then keep in mind, because this one has a y inside it, right? We'll need to do the derivative of y with respect to x, and we don't know what y is. So we're going to say times dy dx. Right, and then let's keep going here. We have the derivative of y, which is just a 1. Again, we're going to have the dy dx because we'll need the derivative of whatever that is with respect to x. And then we can go take the derivative of each of the terms on the right-hand side of the equal sign. Right, so derivative of 4x is going to be 4, and derivative of 3 will be 0. And so now we want to get all the terms that have dy dx on one side. Everything without a dy dx, we can move to the other side of the equal sign. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and move the 3x squared sine of y to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract it from the left. Right, and on this right-hand side, don't do anything fancy here. You can just write it exactly like you see it. 4 minus 3x squared sine of y. And on this left-hand side, we have x cubed times cosine of y dy dx plus dy dx. Right, and now we want to go ahead and on that left-hand side, we want to factor out the dy dx, right? Each of those terms has that in common. So we're going to factor out dy dx. And so if we take it out of this first term, that's going to leave us with x cubed cosine of y. If we take it out of the second term, keep in mind that's going to leave a 1 right there. And our right-hand side is not going to change. That'll stay the same. So 4 minus 3x squared sine of y. So let's go ahead and divide both sides here by x cubed cosine of y plus 1. We'll do the same thing on the right-hand side. Right? These two terms, the whole big set of parentheses here, is going to cancel on the left. That's what we want. Right? And that's going to allow us to solve for dy dx. And that's going to be equal to the right-hand side, and you can go ahead and copy it just like you see it. So 4 minus 3x squared sine of y, all of that over x cubed cosine of y plus 1.